Ladies and gentlemen, it's currently 5:22 a.m. where I stay, and we have some breaking news, some very unfortunate news. It's related to the geopolitics of the world, and approximately 20-ish minutes ago, there were strikes being made by certain countries, and these strikes are currently causing global markets to experience a bit of a sell-off. But the reason why this video is titled Bitcoin Fire Sale is because whenever we have a fall in price action due to external events, it's always a good idea to be buying Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Or it's always a good idea to be buying certain assets that you have conviction in the long term, which in the moment are being affected by external reasons. So, for example, if we go to the most recent external event that impacted the price of Bitcoin, it was literally 1 week ago when we saw us drop from $112,000 essentially down to $100,000 just because tensions were created between Elon Musk and President Trump, and that led to worries of potential civil war, and that's why the price of Bitcoin experienced a 12% correction to the downside. Now, thankfully, we've averted that situation. It's just that whenever you see FUD like that rise, that doesn't directly impact the Bitcoin network. It doesn't directly impact anything related to the fundamentals of Bitcoin. It's always a good time to be buying that FUD, especially when you're in a bull market. And, given the fact that Bitcoin is an asset which is going to be considered as the primary asset um, for risk hedging, I think now is a good time to be buying into Bitcoin during fear. And guys, obviously this is a crypto channel, so I'm not going to commentate on any political situation. Obviously, it's a very sensitive situation, so I will refrain from making any comments against that. I'm just commentating on the price of Bitcoin and the price of cryptocurrencies only. But with that said, I think where we are is an okay level when we consider the CME gap. The CME gap has been filled, and unfortunately, when things like this happen, it's pretty hard to make. It's pretty hard to rely on technical analysis because the fundamentals and breaking news, they trump the technical analysis. That's just how the markets work. And we did actually get a warning a couple of hours ago, in fact 12 to 13 hours ago, from the American embassy that tensions may potentially continue to escalate, but I don't think anybody expected this much this fast. So 4 hourly time frame, you can see that the CME gap is now confirmed to be closed. The 105 CME gap no longer exists, so that is one good sign. And I think a place where we can expect a bounce would be the 100.7k level and even the $102,000 level. Between 102 and where we are, there isn't much support, so I think a drop to the 102, which is a very good line of support, even when you go back to prior price action, can be expected. So 102 is a pretty good level to expect a bounce from. I would be looking for that. There is no double top formation. So when we look into this double top formation, some people are calling this a potential double top, but it doesn't really remind me of a double top, not from a technical perspective. I think we're in a consolidation phase, and we're likely to see a bounce from the support line. And if we don't, that's also okay. I'm a believer in the fact that we will more likely decide to see a move to the upside because of the increase in global liquidity. That is how my trades are being lenient towards. But remember, guys, we've been long on Bitcoin since $77,000. So even if we do drop into the upper $90,000, we're still going to be profitable. So there's no need to panic, no need to worry at all. It's just an opportunity to add more to our Bitcoin positions to prepare for the next leg to the upside. So when we look at the other cryptocurrency market, it's actually not too terrible. We can have a quick look at the crypto bubbles, and you can see that on the daily, we are down 10-ish% on the top 100. It's not terrible. It's really not a big deal. This position, you could be getting stopped out soon, but what I would consider doing is move the stop loss lower and potentially try and DCA more into ETH position. So if you're going low leverage, which is what I think the most preferable option, in my opinion, would be I would try and reduce your risk right now, downsize your risk on your Ethereum positions, and continue to dollar cost average into ETH positions. Because look, if we didn't have this external news, then Ethereum had broken out successfully above the resistance of the inverse head and shoulders and of the 200 daily moving average. So that was a very, very fantastic thing. And my bullishness on Ethereum still remains. It's just the external news that is causing what we're seeing here on the price action. Therefore, and this daily candle just begun, 1 hour ago. So most of the dumpage that we're seeing is happening from this 1 hourly candle, following the geopolitical tensions. Therefore, because we have this situation, I think another DCA point would be the 50 SMA, which is now colliding with support from this choppy price action. I think it's still a good time for these cryptocurrencies. It's a good time to accumulate. It's a good time to dollar cost average and buy the dip and buy the fear. I think we're running into good support soon at 2.4. And if you can hold those positions, then I think we have a very good future for Ethereum in the few upcoming short weeks. When we look at crude oil, just to reflect on global markets, we have oil, which is going to be, it's not oil, is it? It's going to be, gold is seeing a 1.28% pump. Bitcoin should do that too, theoretically, but we're still not doing that. This is cocoa. This is not oil. Crude oil. Crude oil futures is seeing a massive increase to the upside. And then finally, the dollar should be dropping. Dollar is, no, it's stable. There isn't too much price movement on the dollar. And then we can also look into, we did the dollar, we did oil, we did the S&P futures. S&P futures is, we are down a lot on the S&P futures. We're down heavy. At least back to the 200 moving average. But see, this is also good because we're down to good support. The 200 moving average is very good support. It's just, if you guys remember watching my prior videos, I did have the concern of this becoming a lower low. And then tomorrow if the market opens here, then you're technically in a bearish trend, which I don't like. To be honest with you, it's not a good thing. How does that reflect with Bitcoin if the S&P now enters a bearish trend? Well, that could give signs of potential market topping, but looking at the Bitcoin cycles, it wouldn't make sense. I'll just leave that video here, guys. I won't go too much more because my brain isn't working 100%. I literally just woke up on breaking news on my phone. So we'll do more in-depth analysis going into tomorrow, but just as a primary overall sum up message, when external events happen that don't directly impact the asset you're holding, and if you have long-term conviction in that asset, then it's been provable in history, even last week with the Elon Musk and Trump situation, that it's a good time to buy FUD, and it's a good time to buy the panic in the market, which we're clearly seeing right now. So guys, with that said, please stay safe, and hope to see you on the next video in the upcoming few hours. Take care, guys, and as always, bye.